Greetings everyone and welcome back to Lax TV. This is the episode 4 and I am Mathieu Lax Lacroutz. Today for this new episode I wanted to talk about something that is related to advertising in both esports and gaming. And the subject I wanted to address today, as the title might indicate, is intellectual properties. The reason I wanted to talk about this is simple. I've seen a LinkedIn post from the head of marketing at Kellogg's France called Nicolas Bory, and Nicolas was asking a question to his LinkedIn community about the fact that Nintendo announced that they would like advertisers and politicians to reduce their activities within the game Animal Crossing. And I don't know how much you follow the space on that, but it's this Switch video game that has blown out of the water during the first lockdown. And we've seen a lot of brands interacting within the game, trying to create stuff for their own communities. And Nintendo, 6 months after this explosion, have decided to ask brands to stop using it if it was too marketing about it. What's interesting here, I'll drop a link in the comment to an article, but what was interesting in Nicolas' questioning was that he wondered if it was either something that would definitely stop any brand to be able to really use Animal Crossing, or it was done by Nintendo to frame a bit more what people could be doing to potentially better protect gamers that are evolving with Animal Crossing, right? When you're playing a video game, you don't really want this to be a marketing platform, you just want to experience the game. And so it actually drove a couple of questions, and I had a quick exchange with Nicolas about this. And it brought up a bigger question. So Nintendo's done that, and it's kind of the first publisher, to take actions toward this. But intellectual property and trademark infringement between advertisers and video game publishers is actually a topic that I think will really grow as an issue in the future run. One reason, for instance, is we've seen that publishers have different aspects toward this legal question. Epic Games, for instance, they're known as a company who's really pushing for open sources, whether it's in their own video games or even for their in-game 3D tools like Unreal Engine. They want people to play and have fun with their game, and therefore today brands that are using Fortnite as a way in to do in-game advertising by having campaigns working with influencers, it seems tolerated so far, right? So we've seen a lot of people do this. Same way we've seen a lot of brands do advertising communication using the IP of Animal Crossing. But on the other end, of the publishers, we're actually seeing a lot more strictness and rigorousness from publishers who want to better control their IP. I'm thinking, for instance, about Riot Games, to whom using the IP League of Legends is really framed. You can do it, but you need to be a partner. You need to have agreements, right? We've seen Coke do sponsor Coke bottle using League of Legends characters, IPs, but that was framed through contract and through legal procedures, right? And in the same vibe, you would have Blizzard and Activision Blizzard who would provide anybody to use Overwatch or Call of Duty IPs unless you would be a proper sponsor of the game or their esports league. And yet, it seems like the more agencies are coming to the space, the less people seems to care about these IPs and the trademark infringement that come with it. And that's a bit weird because before launching Aura, Anja and myself, we came from an advertising agency that was dedicated to entertainment. And so we worked for brands like Disney, Netflix, those brands that are building the entire ecosystem around strong IPs, in this case being entertainment movies or TV shows. Those IPs are strictly protected. And within the entertainment industry, you would not see somebody, launch a Casa del Papel campaign without having the agreement of Netflix to use the Casa del Papel IP, because otherwise it would be a trademark infringement. And when you think of companies like Netflix or Disney, it is companies that are known to defend their trademarks. But in gaming, everybody's doing Fortnite without questioning themselves. Everybody's doing Animal Crossing activation without questioning themselves. Nintendo has announced a new VR AR game around Mario Kart, and we've already started to see some campaigns done by advertisers using that IP, but people don't really have the right to. And when we see where Nintendo is going, this is probably unlikely to change. It might evolve drastically on the other end, meaning that if you do use the new Nintendo Mario Kart game, I think it's called Mario Life, if I'm not mistaken, then you might risk a trademark infringement lawsuit. And so I think now it's the time to ask those questions, because we are seeing a lot of people do a lot of stuff, and it's risky. It's risky because it's putting, for instance, influencers that will do this at a legal risk, and they don't necessarily have the legal background to make sure that whatever a brand is asking them to do is compliant to the trademark law. But it's also risky because it opens up a Pandora box where we don't know what we're going to find. So as I said, from our background with Angela, we've always been very, very rigorous with trademark within our group, because we knew from an advertising agency standpoint that it was super risky to start using IPs of publishers without, thinking more about it. And one example about how we, turn around this, we did a campaign where we wanted to activate the FIFA community, right? The video game FIFA and its community. And so the way we went about it, I'll try to put a link if I can, but we worked with a FIFA YouTuber, and we had him talk to his community and create a campaign. It was for Volvic. And what happened is that during this video, when we asked people to reproduce plays within the game, we didn't show gameplay. We actually created in motion design the action that people would have to do. And so the entire campaign done by Volvic was never showing IPs and never talking about FIFA if you actually look at the full video. But we knew by the context of the influencers and the fact that he had a controller in his hand and stuff like that, we knew that his community of FIFA players would, understand and then share their own plays using the game. But it's the community who's just sharing plays using an hashtag. The brand itself is respecting the IPs. I've not seen a lot of effort in that sense by any agencies or any advertisers. And I think that is something that will change. And I think the time is now to start addressing this discussion, because otherwise we're building a scene where advertisers think they can use in-game footage or use the Fortnite name here and there, but actually without not thinking that it might be a trademark infringement. And the risk is that some publishers like Nintendo get sick of seeing so much advertising campaign and therefore block completely anybody to use it, whether they're trying to respect or not the trademark infringement. And if we do want to protect also the gamers themselves, we need to make sure that those brands that are activating those video games respect the guidelines asked by the publishers. So I'm not saying that publishers should start to make advertisers pay to get the licensing fees to use the IP. I really hope that this is not where this issue will go. But at the very least, we've seen, for instance, Rocket League. So Epic Games Steel, another game from Epic Games, Rocket League, require anybody who wants to create their own Rocket League tournament to fill out a couple of just a survey that Epic Games will review to allow or not any brands or anybody to use their IP for their tournament or anything. So they're not making people pay for it, but they're controlling what's being done with their own IPs. And I think that's what I hope to see more. I hope to see more control from publishers about their IP without reducing the creative opportunities that advertisers can have, because we know more advertiser means more consumers looking at the video game, and it's a win-win for everyone. But still, I think that this Nintendo news is quite interesting. If you do believe so yourself, as usual, leave a quick comment here. I'll be happy to talk about it more, and hopefully, be able to show a bit more later in a new episode how the creative process that we usually put to make sure we always respect the IPs no matter what, because nobody like a trademark lawsuit from a bigger company that we are, and we're not so big yet. Thank you very much for listening to me, and see you in the next episode.